Okay.
Sorry, thank you.
Sorry, you guys are gonna get your steps in today.
Number 12, People versus Ryan Hall, 22-256, I think.
Michael Dobie for the people.
Field Overwater Assistant Public Defender on behalf of Mr. Hall.
Paul, can you hear me okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right, how are we proceeding today?
For the record, Your Honor, we did speak about this matter prior to the docket, Mr. Dobie being present, and the court did indicate that if Mr. Hall wishes to admit the probation violations as alleged, the court would reinstate his term of probation with the same terms and conditions, adding that he be released to the first available residential treatment bed.
That's what I said, but he also have to, he'd be leaving with jewelry, so an MPOC GPS bracelet.
So, Mr. Hall, did you hear all of that?
I need to get a tether on, is that what you said?
You'd have a tether on from the Michigan Department of Corrections, a GPS tether, but you would be allowed to go to residential treatment when a bed was available for you. And you would
That
return to
sounds-
probation. When
That
it's
sounds
probation.
fantastic.
I'll inquire about the fantastic part in a minute.
August 18th, 24.
Okay, so we have time. Okay. Otherwise, your probation conditions would continue the way that they were prior to you being incarcerated. Do you understand that, Mr. Hall?
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Okay.
Your Honor.
Is it your desire then to accept responsibility for the violation of probation today?
Yes,
Okay, let's get you sworn.
Can you raise your right hand, please?
yeah.
I'm sorry, before we start, Your Honor, how long would you want him on the GPS tether, just so he knows?
I'm not positive, but at least through the residential treatment, and then probably at least 30 days afterwards to make sure that he stays compliant.
Do you understand that, Mr. Hall?
Yes,
Okay, no poop pill. Yeah, okay, let's go sworn.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
yes,
Okay. So did you hear the agreement that your attorney just put on for a sentencing agreement if you were to accept responsibility for the violation of probation that was filed with this court on January 23rd of this year?
yes, Your Honor.
Okay, I'm a new judge to you, I can tell you that you don't have a COURT agreement. You technically have a COURT agreement now, not a sentence agreement. So this agreement is with me. However, I will tell you this, if you violate or you abscond from probation again, that's telling me that you really can't be trusted in the community to be safe. So
Yes,
I am affording you this grace so that you can continue to work on your recovery. And if this isn't something that you're ready for, now's a good time to tell me.
No, I'm definitely I want this opportunity and I don't want to come in front of you again.
Okay, well then we're in agreement with that. Okay, is there anything that additional as to why you're accepting responsibility other than what's been stated on the record today?
No, because I didn't call. I didn't make the phone call to report.
Okay, we'll get to that in a second. Has anyone forced you or threatened you to accept this plea today for your violation of probation?
No,
Do you understand that if I accept your plea, you're going to waive your rights to a hearing that includes having the prosecutor prove by a preponderance of the evidence that you in fact violated your probation? Okay, you were put on probation. 8/24 of 2022. Was it for a period of 2 years? So for a period of 2 years for an offense, possession of a controlled substance less than 25 grams that carries a maximum potential penalty of 4 years imprisonment and or $25,000. Do you understand that's the maximum penalty?
yes,
Okay. And did you violate your probation?
yes.
And if so, how? And Mr. Overwater, if you want to voir dire.
Just one moment. So, Mr. Hall, You were
Yes.
ordered to report to probation on December 27th of 2022, and you failed to report on that date. Is that correct?
Yes,
And you don't have any reason to doubt that your agent made multiple attempts to reach out to you in early January of that year, and you still did not report?
yes,
Additionally, you were ordered to submit to random drug tests as directed, and you failed to submit to testing on December 21st of 2022, 27th of 2022, as well as January 4th, 7th, 10th, and 15th of 2023. Is that correct?
yes.
I'm satisfied, Your Honor.
People are satisfied.
Thank you. I believe I've complied with the court well, and I find that this plea was made knowingly, understandingly, voluntarily, and accurately made. Counsel being satisfied, any objection to proceeding with immediate sentencing?
No, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor, and waive a new report.
Okay, Mr. Doby, anything you want to say?
Nothing to add, thank you.
Mr. Overwater, as
Okay.
to
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Hall, is there anything you'd like to tell me before sentencing on your violation?
I would just like to say that I am a father now. I had my first son before this violation. He was born April 27th. And I have my dad going through chemo, and he was a firefighter and a paramedic and a really great person. And you know, when I didn't report, I didn't know all this stuff was going to happen, but you know, I should have known something bad was going to happen. And so, all my own fault, not yours. But I just would like you to know that I'm a new parent. This is the greatest love I've ever seen. I've experienced when I seen him born. It was awesome. I brought myself down here because I want to change. I turned myself in on this because I just couldn't, live my life with being not compliant with probation. You know, I got a little kid who's just an innocent victim now. So I appreciate you giving me the last chance. That's all I need.
I want to tell you these things, Mr. Hall. It's okay to ask for help, and it sounds like you do have a lot on your plate with your dad being ill, and special congratulations to you on the birth of your son. One thing that you need to do as a parent is to be the absolute best version of yourself, and that's going to include a sober one who's going to be steady in their recovery and committed to their recovery. Best of intentions, and no matter how much you love your kid, if you can't be sober right now, you're not being the best parent you can be. So you kind of have a lot riding on it, right? So in addition to being there for your kid, to making sure that you're out of custody so that you can help care for your dad, you know,
Yeah.
your liberty is at stake. This is potentially a 4-year offense, and you don't want to miss any of those moments.
No.
So I hope that during the time that it takes for the sheriff's department to work with probation to find you a residential bed, is that you are taking stock in all the good things that you have going in your life and reasons for you to stay sober.
Oh, I pray, thank God every day now. I'm blessed.
Okay, well, I'll check in with you on that too. It's the sentence of the court that your probation be reinstated, that you can be released from the Washington County Jail when a bed is available to a residential substance abuse treatment center. However, you shall not be released without the installation of a Michigan Department of Corrections GPS tether. You will wear that tether for at least 30 days after you finish residential treatment. Mr. Hall, I will tell you this, if you're in the wind and we don't see you again, you will not be afforded this opportunity. Do you understand that, sir?
Yes, I understand that. I thought I could leave, I would leave the jail on a tether.
You will as soon as a bed is available for you, and sometimes that takes a few days. So I'll send a disposition into the sheriff's department today to Ms. Stewart, so they can get you assessed and find you some place to go.
Okay, I don't know.
Okay.
I misheard. I thought you said before that I would wait outside with the tether on.
You will not be released until you have the tether, but you're gonna be released when they have a bed available for you.
Okay.
Okay, you are gonna be given an appellate rights form by the public defender's office. If you want to file an appeal from today's proceedings, you can do so. That form explains all of your rights. Should you want an attorney to represent you, you have to file a request in writing within 42 days from today's date. Do you understand?
Yep,
Okay, I wish you the best of luck.
thank you.
Recall number 8, People versus Robert Gray, 23449 FH.
Michael Doby for the people.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Christopher Shanky appearing on behalf of my client, consenting to the matter being heard via Zoom.
Hi, Mr. Gray, how are you, sir?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Okay.
Judge, I had an opportunity to speak with my client and avail him of all of his constitutional rights. This time, I believe that there is a plea offer being made by the prosecution.
Okay, Mr. Doby.
And that's correct, Your Honor. The people would accept a plea to add count 2 of false report or threat of a bomb or harmful device. That code 750.411A3A is a 4-year and/or $2,000 felony.
Mr. Gray, is this something that you'd like to do today to accept responsibility to the added count 2 of false report of a bomb, 4-year sentence?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, let's have him sworn in.
Can you raise your right hand, please? Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Mr. Gray, have you had enough time to speak to your attorney, Mr. Shemke, about your plea today and what that means?
Yes.
And do you understand that you don't have an agreement as to what your sentence will be, but we send you to the probation department to do a pre-sentence investigation, and your attorney and the prosecutor will each take their own positions, and I'll make a final decision at the time of sentencing. Do you
Yes.
understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Other than what's been stated here on the record, has anyone threatened or promised you anything to get you to plead guilty?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Are you currently on probation or parole?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. The offense that you would be tendering a plea to today is false report of a bomb, which has a maximum potential penalty of 4 years and/or $2,000. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Do you understand if your plea is accepted, you'll not have a trial of any kind, and you'll be giving up all the rights that you would have had if you had a trial?
Yes, Your Honor.
On or about? I have 5/17 of 23. Is that correct? It's also crossed out on my information. Is that the correct date?
That's what I have listed as the correct date, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. 5/17 of 2023 in the area of 516 East Liberty Street in the city of Ann Arbor, County of Washington, State of Michigan. What did you do that makes you believe that you're guilty of the added count 2?
I threatened Club Necto in Ann Arbor.
Okay, do you want to further?
Yes. And did you use a cell phone to post on social media the threat?
Yes.
And specifically, did you threaten that potentially there was going to be a shootout on an upcoming Saturday at that location?
Yes.
Satisfied, Your Honor.
The people are satisfied.
Okay. Court finds that the defendant's plea of guilty was made knowingly, understandingly, voluntarily, and accurately made. Mr. Shumke, would you like to be present for the pre-sentence investigation?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Gray, we're going to refer your case to the probation department. They will make an effort to come see you at the jail to provide a pre-sentence investigation, okay? Do you have any questions?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Gray, we'll see you back on the 25th, okay?
Yes. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Thank you, Judge. And again, thank you to you and your staff for allowing me to see my client. Yes, sir.
Number one, People versus Ahmed Abu Hashim, 23439 FH.
Michael Dobie for the people.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. John, on behalf of Ahmed Abu Hashim, also present by Zoom. Mr. Abu Hashim, can you state your name for the record?
Ahmed Abu Hashim.
Good afternoon.
Your Honor, I've
Ms.
had,
Hamel-
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
sorry about that. Sorry, Your Honor, go ahead.
No, where are we today, Ms. Hamel?
Thank you. I've had an opportunity to discuss this with Mr. Dobie, and I think that he and I need some more time to engage in continued settlement communication. There's a transcript from the preliminary examination that I just provided him with. And we would just like maybe a 4-week adjournment so that we have time to go through it, meet, and see what kind of creative resolution we can come up with. If we can.
That's correct, Your Honor.
September 11th.
That works for me, Your Honor.
Ms. Hamud, your client needs prints done.
Your Honor, he did do his prints in Egypt. He's overseas, and this makes this case kind of unique. We've been conducting all of his hearings and court events by Zoom for this reason. He's unable to travel here because he doesn't have any legal way of entry. I do have the prints that he completed in Egypt, and I could provide those to the court in whatever way the court would like me to.
I think you could work that out with Mr. Dobie and maybe work with the Ann Arbor PD to have them entered in his ORI. I'm assuming they're like old school print cards. Okay, there is a way to still enter those, but they have to be done manually at a department issued terminal. So if you work with Mr. Dobie and working with the court officer, whoever that is for City of Ann Arbor, I'm sure that will get it done.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a wonderful afternoon, everyone. Good to see you all.
All right, we'll see you back on 11th.
Sounds good. Mr. Abu Hashim, you can log off now.
Number 33, People versus Galen Snowden, 22106 FH.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Amy Reiser on behalf of the people.
Kenneth Overwater, Assistant Public Defender on behalf of Mr. Snowden.
Mr. Snowden, can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can.
Yes. Mr. Overwater, did he execute a sentence in judge waiver?
He is not.
Word year, how on record is it?
I discussed it with him this morning, and so he can be worded on the record.
Mr. Snowden, I know that I was not the judge that took your plea, and you do have a sentence agreement. I haven't heard anything about this case, and all what I know so far is what has been provided in the pre-sentence investigation. You do have a right to be sentenced by the judge that took your plea, but you also can proceed today with me, and that I need to know if you're okay with proceeding today.
Yes, Your Honor, that's fine with me.
Okay. All right, I can barely hear him. You hear me?
I said, yes, Your Honor, that is okay with me.
Oh, thank you. Okay, Mr. Snowden, we will continue then. Ms. Reiser, Mr. Overwater, as to guidelines.
I don't have any corrections or deletions to make to the report. I believe the guidelines are scored appropriately, Your Honor, and I've reviewed the report with the exception of the change on the face sheet and throughout the report indicating that Your Honor is sentencing instead of Judge O'Brien. That change should be made. We would ask that you follow the sentence agreement in this case to 2 to 15 years in the Department of Corrections.
Overwater for the guidelines.
Yeah, I do believe the guidelines are correctly scored. I would ask the court on page 3, under the description of the offense, the last paragraph describing a conversation that my client allegedly had with somebody else. I would argue that that entire paragraph is irrelevant. It's not part of the facts of the case or the offense itself, so I would ask that that paragraph be stricken.
Page 3. And then the last paragraph.
Of the agent's description of the offense, so right above where it says consecutive sentences.
Ms. Reiser, to that request.
I believe, Your Honor, and I'd have to pull up the investigator's report, but that was taken from the police investigation, the examination of his devices, and this was a conversation that the defendant was having with another individual. So I believe that it's appropriate to be included in the report.
Any legal reason why I shouldn't be leaving this in Mr. Overwater?
It's not part of the facts of the case. It's not part of the elements. It's completely irrelevant to the charge. The charge is whether or not he had this material on his device, and he did. What his private conversations are with other people is nothing to do with the facts of the case or the charge itself. It's I think it serves only to make him look like a terrible person because of something he said on the internet. It's protected speech. I don't think it should be included in this report.
Well, protected speech has carve-outs, doesn't it?
Of course it does.
Okay. Would you also agree, though, Mr. Overwater, that you want me to take your client as he is and not look at anything that he maybe wouldn't be germane to this, but how much of a risk he is to our community, just like as you would with any other person who was appearing before me, one of your clients? You wouldn't want me to sentence them to jail just for the sake of sentencing to jail, only if they were a risk to themselves or to our community.
Certainly not, Judge.
Okay. Paragraph stays then. Anything else?
Nothing further, Judge.
Ms. Reiser,
Nothing.
as a victim impact statement or anything else?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, anything you'd like to say before sentencing, Ms. Reiser?
No, Your Honor, I believe that based on the history with this particular defendant and progressive sentencing, I believe that a prison sentence is in line, and we would ask that you follow the parties' agreement. I would hope that at some point the defendant could be rehabilitated if and when he is paroled. But I think that prison is definitely necessary at this stage.
Overwater.
Just that I would note that throughout my representation of Mr. Snowden, he's never denied or attempted to minimize the allegations that were listed in this case. He's been very forthright about that. I don't think he's going to have any issue complying with sex offender therapy and counseling that he'll need to do in the Department of Corrections in order to even be eligible for parole. So I would ask the court to sentence him pursuant to the agreement that was reached.
Mr. Snowden, is there anything that you'd like to share with me before your sentencing, sir?
No, Your Honor.
Reading the first part of the agent's description, which talks about a conversation that the officer had with Mr. Snowden, it gives me a little bit of pause in following the sentence agreement, which I am going to do today. But there was a statement in there that just feels like it needs to be addressed, and it that these crimes are victimless. And I cannot stress to you enough, Mr. Snowden, that that is absolutely not true.
I do.
You may not have engaged in the making of them, but by possessing them and having that fortitude to go out and solicit these, somebody else is going to continue to make them, which means more children are going to continue to be hurt. I hope that you take this time away from our community to lean in to the treatment programs that are going to be provided for you in the Michigan Department of Corrections, and that you stay committed to that recovery and keep a treatment mindset upon your release from the Michigan Department of Corrections. It is the sentence of the court as to count 1, the guidelines being 29 to 57. You serve 2 to 15 years in the Michigan Department of Corrections with credit for 154 days served. Concurrent to count 2, you'll be required to register on the Michigan Sex Offender Registration Act as ordered by that statute, you must comply with DNA testing and pay a $60 fee. Ordered by the court, a $68 crime victims assessment fee. I'm sorry, $130 crime victims assessment fee and a $68 state cost. Court costs in the amount of $1,611 and attorney's fees in the amount of $650. As to count 2, I'll adopt conditions 1 through 4. Sentencing guidelines again being 29 to 57 months to 15 years in the Michigan Department of Corrections. Credit for 154 days concurrent to count 1. Again, you'll register with the Michigan Sex Offender Registry. $60 DNA testing. Actually, I can strike that. You only have to do it once. I'll strike 2. $68 state cost, 130 crime victims rights fees, striking conditions 5 and 6 for the court costs and attorney's fees. Sir, you have the opportunity to appeal your sentence today. If you want to appeal and you would like an attorney appointed for you, you must make a request in writing within 42 days from today's date. Public Defender's Office will provide you with an appellate rights form explaining all of your rights regarding an appeal. Do you understand that, sir?
I do, Your Honor.
I wish you all the luck, Mr. Snowden.